Hey guys, Steffi Sanity. Today I have my Colourpop box. I put in an order when their new eyeshadow palette launched, and I just got a couple things. I'm going to show you what I got, and then we're going to do a full review on the palette. I'm going to try it out on my eyes. I'm going to do a couple swatches with you, and then at the end of the video, I'll let you know my thoughts and if I think it's worth purchasing. So opening it up, it's Colourpop's traditional little packaging here. So I got two of the I Think I Love You palettes. These are the brand new ones. So this launched the other day, and they're actually still in stock, surprisingly, because I think they've had two eyeshadow palettes like this so far. This is one of them, and then I actually did a full review on the Yes Please palette. That is the other one that just keeps continually selling out every time that they relaunch it and restock it. So I will link that video down below if you want to check that out. I love that palette so much, and I use it quite often. This is the She Shadow palette. I will do a separate video on this if you're interested in hearing my thoughts or seeing a tutorial on it, so let me know, but that's not what this video is about. So I got another palette for my mom because she loved the Yes Please palette as well, so I'm going to put that to the side as well, and then this is what we're working with today. So I'm going to open it up. If you're into packaging, this is probably Colourpop's best packaging so far. I haven't seen the actual palette, but yeah, this is a little better than Colourpop usually gives you. They have the shade names on the back. I can already tell you that I do love Colourpop's formula. I'll show you a close-up of the palette. It's very reflective, but it's so pretty. I'm actually surprised that this palette didn't sell out immediately because I think the colors are gorgeous for fall. So it looks like you have a total of 4 matte shades. This row down here. This one looks like it might be a little bit of a satin, but it'll probably apply matte, but we'll see. And then this shade in the corner is matte as well. You get 12 shades total. I think it's a pretty well-versed palette because you have like the basic neutrals to use as the matte shades, just as transitions and just to deepen certain parts of the eye if you want to like contour your eyes, that type of deal. And then the shimmer shades, I think you do get a nice variety. I will be honest, the shades that drew me to this palette most were these two down here. I don't have a lot of blacks in my collection, surprisingly, so I'm really pleased to see that in a palette. Most of the palettes I've been getting lately don't even include a black. They'll include like a deep purple or a deep brown, but I needed a true black in my collection. So I'm excited to see how they did with this one. And then of course that yellow gold shade. So I'm not going to swatch the entire palette because I think the way that it applies on the eyes is going to be the most valuable to you guys. So what I'm going to do is what I normally do in these types of videos, where I'm going to try to use as many of these shadows as possible on my eyes to create an eye look. So I'm just going to totally wing it. Like I said, it's a first impression, so I haven't experimented with this at all. But I'm going to swatch the shades that stand out to me most. So I'm going to dig into this yellow, of course. That does feel a little bit loose in the pan, so that's just something to note. Of course, the black, which feels really buttery. Colourpop definitely has a little bit of kick up, but they're still like really creamy and buttery, so I can tell that with going into the black shade. This shade actually stands out to me too, surprisingly. And then let's get this shade in the corner. That's also like a yellow goldish shade. So I'm just going to swatch these on the back of my hand here. That's just one quick swatch. I think that's beautiful. Let's see how this black does. See, I think that's a really good black. And for an affordable eyeshadow, I think that's amazing. That would be good along with my other black shades for sure. So look how pretty that is. These are just like real quick swatches. That's a great highlight shade. So I'm going to wipe off my fingers and maybe do just a couple more. All right, let's dig into this like coppery cranberry shade. Let's just do these 4 right here. I'm going to stay away from the mattes because you can already tell from the black that that's going to be like a really good formula. And we don't want to go too heavy with mattes on the eyes anyway. So that's what we got here. You can just see how stunning that is. Am I right? I just think that all of those are standout colors. And I don't know, I just think you can create some really pretty looks with these shades. So I think that's all I have to say right now as far as the information goes. Of course, I'll link the palette down below so you can find it easily. Now I think is a good time to see how they actually work on the eyes. So we're going to hop into the demo now. So the only thing I have on my eyelids is some Urban Decay primer potion. I did that because I want to give these eyeshadows a fair shot. I use that primer every day. I swear by it. So I'm just going to set that. I actually set it with a little tiny bit of Airspun translucent powder. But I'm going to go in with this beigey shade right here just to really set down whatever we have on the lid and just give a good base. So I'm just taking my Real Techniques fluffy brush and just dipping into that a little bit. As you can see, there definitely is some kick up, but normally you wouldn't be holding your eyeshadow up like that. I just want to show you what I was doing. Okay, so I'm hoping, yeah, so you can see that that is just a little bit lighter than my skin tone. I'm gonna get my hair out of the way. This shadow is working very well as a base shade. Like I said, it's a little bit lighter, but I think it will help the other colors to apply more pigmented anyway. So I'm really liking it. So I'm just going to go in and highlight the brow bone really quick, and then we'll probably like highlight again later. But I'm going to go in with this icy shade right here, and I'm just going to put a little bit just under the brow right there. And I'm just going to start by bringing it into the inner corner. Look how pretty that is as a highlight. So we'll touch that up later, of course. I just really wanted to see how it applied kind of early on. For some reason that was calling out to me. So I'm going to go in with this transition shade, and I'm going to deepen it immediately after that with this transition shade right here. So we're just going to build that up, and we're going to use a couple of fluffy brushes to do that. Starting off with this larger Stila fluffy brush, I'm just going to pick up some of that first shade. These are a little bit more powdery, in my opinion, than the other Colourpop shadows that I've tried. I'm not sure why that is, but we're just going to move right along for now. And I'm just going to blend this right above the crease just to give some dimension, especially because that color that we started with was so light. I think that lighter brown color worked pretty perfect with my skin tone for a transition shade, especially with that lighter base color that we went down with. So I'm just going to switch out for a little bit of a smaller blending brush. This is by NYX, and I'm going to pick up some of that darker shade and just very carefully drag that into the crease. I'm taking this one just maybe a little bit below because of the shape of the brush, just to make sure that I don't take the darker colors up too high. So I'm just dragging it right below the crease and then blending it upwards. By the way, if you're wondering what lip color this is, I figured this would match this fall palette. It's one of my favorite fall shades. It's 0.0 by Colourpop. It's the Kathleen Lights collab. I love this shade so much. So you can see how seamlessly that blended, and those colors are pairing together really nicely. Just going back in with that lighter one just to buff out that color a little bit. And just to see what that deeper brown can do, this one right here that we just used, I'm going to go in with a more precise blending brush. This is by Colourpop. I'm going to get more of their brushes. I'm going to use 2 of them today. That's all I have right now, but I really like these brushes. I picked up some of that dark brown shade on this brush, and I'm just going to drag it more directly into the crease. It's not really doing what I want it to do, so I'm going to go in with their old Colourpop brush. I also really like this one. It's acting a little crazy right now. I'm just going to layer it once again with this one. This brush is a little bit softer than the other one, so yeah, that's doing a better job. Mixing the 2 lighter transition shades, I'm just going to buff out those edges once again. Going back in with this blending brush by Colourpop, I'm actually going to pick up some of that black shade, and I'm going to focus it on the outer corner. I have the slightest amount on this brush, and I'm just going to tap it right there into the outer corner and kind of drag it back against my lashes. Just a little bit more product. I'm being so careful with this black, but to me that's everything I want in a black shade. It's not too overpowering, but you can definitely build it up to be very rich in pigment, so I really like that. And this is definitely a good addition to my collection. Of course, if you have a ton of black shades, obviously you wouldn't be getting this palette for that reason, but I think it's a really useful shade for someone like me who loves dark smoky eye looks. And then the lighter shimmer shades can just really pull it together and kind of make it more wearable, in my opinion. I want it to be darkest there, like at the lash line on the very outer corner. And then once most of the pigmentation is there, I'm just going to drag it out just a little tiny bit, just to get a little bit of that wing shape, if you can see that. There we go. I really like the way that's looking. I'm going to go in with that brown shade, that darker brown in the corner, and just drag that around the edges a little bit, just to blend that black in. I think that's looking really pretty. I'm going to do the same on the other side real quick, and then we'll catch back up to do the rest of the lid. I'm having a hard time picking between the shimmer shades because I feel like they're all so pretty, but I do know that I want to use this yellow gold because I feel like people who are getting this palette, like that's the shade that jumps out to them the most. So I definitely do want to use that, but I kind of want to start out with one of the deeper shades, like one of the more cranberry shades. This shade is calling my name, but I think I want to start with this one just because it's a little bit deeper, and I'm going to blend it into the black and try to keep it more towards the middle and leave space for one of the brighter shades. So I'm just going to take one of my flat shader brushes here by Bare Minerals, and you're definitely going to want to tap these off because they do have a lot of fallout, especially that black. I did wipe a little bit of the powder away, and it wiped away easily. It didn't like stain my skin or anything, which some pigmented shadows can do. But I'm just going to work that right against that black shade so we can prepare to blend into some of the brighter ones. So do you see how pigmented that is without using any like glitter glue or anything like that? Because usually I have to go in with a glitter glue to really make shimmer shades pop. Now it definitely is going to take these shadows to the next level. I know that from the single shadows as well, but I just think that they do really well just on their own, and that's impressive to me. Just taking the slightest amount of that black just to kind of blend that together. And then this brush, which we're about to use, this is a flat shader one by Colourpop. I love it. Let's go in with the gold shade next. I'm going to take that into the inner corner. So I'm going to build that up with a second layer. I do think that's very pretty. Like I said, you could take it to the next level, but what I'm going to do next is take some of this shade down here in the corner. I'm dying to use this. I'm just going to take some of that on my finger and tap it between the yellow and the brownish shimmer. So you can obviously see the difference in the way that applied so much better with the finger. So I'm going to tap my pinky finger into the yellow gold shade and just work that into the very inner corner as well. And I'm really happy with that. I'm just going to go back in with the blending brush with no extra product, just to soften the glitter throughout my crease. Side note, I do wish Colourpop would throw a mirror in these just because I keep picking up the palette thinking it has a mirror in it. But I am very happy with how the look is turning out. I think that inner corner highlight is still pretty vibrant, but I'm going to see what happens when we go over it with this color just because, like I said, in these videos I like to use as many colors as I can. So I'm just going to pick that up. I wiped this brush off. This is the Colourpop brush, and I'm just going to pick up a little bit of that shade. It's pretty dark, so we'll see how it goes. I'm just going to pop that right over top of that whitish shade. And then I'm going to go back in with the whitish shade. I'm just going to take it deeper into that corner just to give a little dimension there as well. I think that is stunning. It's definitely a little bit heavier, but I think that's really pretty. I'm actually going to take a little bit of that yellow gold as well and connect those. And start off the lower lash line by taking some of that gold down there as well. I'm going to go straight in with this darker shade right here with a pencil brush. This is by Bare Minerals. I'm going to carefully drag that along the lash line and be pretty precise with it. And then taking this like flat definer brush, the Morphe M432, I'm going to take the black shade and just grab just a little tiny bit of it and even take that closer in and connect it to that outer corner with that like slight wing shape. I just feel like that enhances the shape of the eye, makes them look a little bit bigger and a little bit more sultry, so I really like that black shade a lot so far. Going back in with that pencil brush, I'm going to pick up this kind of cranberry shade right here and maybe mix in a little bit of this shade as well and just kind of keep them separate just to see how they apply. Cranberry tone first and just take it right next to that yellow. This shade might be one of my favorites in the palette because you can see how much that pops. There's like no kickback or fallout with that shade. So that shade is pretty stunning actually. I'm going to go in with that more like brown shade, the upper right hand corner, and use it to blend out the black, just to soften it a bit. So that was nice as well, but I think that one shade is probably going to be my favorite, but I'll talk about that a little bit later. Okay guys, I think that's it for the eyeshadow. I used quite a few colors on my eyes and I think they are looking really nice. So I'm going to finish it off with some mascara. Every look looks better with mascara, but I'm not going to go in with lashes because like I said, I want the eyeshadow to kind of shine on its own. And then I'm also going to go in with the Colourpop Swerve Cream Gel Liner. So I'll just apply these real quick and I'll come back to give you my final thoughts and review. Alright guys, this is the final eye look. What do you guys think of how it came out? Like I said, I could probably come up with some really cool eye looks just concentrating on a few of these colors, especially since this palette is packed with shimmer shades. I feel like you could just go in with one or two of them and create a beautiful look, but I do think it was beneficial to try out as many as I could on my eyes, and I still like the way that it turned out. So let me give you my final thoughts and I'll let you know if I recommend this. So I think this is a stunning fall palette. I do think that you could find other shades that are similar to this in other palettes. We all have these gold bronzy tones. We all have a black somewhere, a shade to set our base. We have similar shades to this, transition colors, but for $16, you're getting a lot for your money. I do think that the quality is very good. This shadow up here in particular is not my favorite. It's a little bit more powdery. You can see it's a little bit beaten up compared to the rest of the shades. So I definitely think you could find better shades in comparison to this one. One downfall with this palette, I will have to say it was a little bit messier. Not even what I just said about this transition shade, but the black shade had some fallout. It swept away really easily. I do recommend to just do your eye makeup first. These apply best with the finger or with glitter glue or a nice base underneath. But I could see reaching for this palette very frequently. My favorite shades would definitely be these bottom two right here. As I said, I knew I was going to love those and they actually impressed me and they came out to be a lot better than I even expected. I also think this highlight shade is stunning and this shade up here. So these four shades right there, I do think the palette is worth getting just for those shades. They're definitely my favorite. For the packaging, for the quality, for the money, I totally do recommend it. Is it my favorite palette from Colourpop? Well, I haven't tried the other shadow palette, so I'll let you know about that one, but I do like the Yes Please palette better. I just feel like there was more shades in there that I would reach for just because it had a good balance of mattes for shimmers. You have to like shimmer shadows if you're going to pick this up because it is majority of that. I think it's nice to have everything you need in a palette, and I'm so happy that I got my hands on it. I don't think it's Colourpop's absolute best. I do still love my single shadows, maybe a little bit better than this, but this is so convenient to reach for different looks and perfect for fall. For $16, you cannot go wrong with this. I don't think this will disappoint you as long as you do like the shimmer shades. So I'm really pleased with my purchase. I would recommend it to you guys just with everything that I said in mind. So I had fun doing a first impression. I will continue playing with the palette. Make sure you subscribe to my channel and also follow me on other social media in case you want to see any updates on this, because I'm sure I'll be talking about it more after today. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day or night, and I'll see you in my next video.